Ultimate Yarn Chicken? Like and subscribe and stick around and find out. Kristen here with Enchanted Yarnworks. Welcome. I'm excited that you're here. Today I want to show you how to make this super adorable pencil pouch case. It's really easy, beginner friendly. You just need to know how to do single crochets and half double crochets. It uses a pre-made pouch, zipper pouch that I pick up from, you can pick up from Amazon if you'd like, for a pack of 10 or 5, whatever they have. And stick around and I will show you how to do it. For the pouch, the cover that we're making, we are going to need 24/7 Lion Brands cotton worsted weight yarn. The color I'm using is vintage lilac. Any color will work, your choice, whatever you love. When I was creating, literally this, it didn't want to stay on. I went like this and went boop. So I guess the label just didn't want to hang out. So this is the second. So I used half of a skein for the sample that I showed you at the beginning here. So we should be good with the rest of this skein to make this one to show you. We have a 4.5mm hook. It's just a simple one off of Amazon. This is a pouch measuring 8.5 inches by 5 inches. Centimeters, if you're interested, is 21.5 by 13. You can get a pack of these, 10 or more, on Amazon. I will put the link on there down below in the description box, excuse me. So that'll be in the description box for you. I have my scissors, and that is all we need. Oh, and our needle to weave in our ends. We will actually need a sharper point needle for when we stitch it into the pouch. So keep that in mind. So, okay, here we go. We're going to start by our slip knot, and we are going to chain 37. Now, if you are a very loose crocheter, you could probably use a 4mm hook. I'm kind of a medium, but I tend to sometimes run tight, so I am using a 4.5. If you are a tight crocheter, you're definitely going to want a 5 or 5.5, probably. Now, the yarn calls for a 4mm hook. Now, you could block it, and I'm sure it'd be perfectly fine. However, I'm going with the 4.5. So 37 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 37. All right, so now we are going to 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, the top loop of the chain. And then we're going to go back 34 single crochets. This is 34. And now we do 2 single crochets in the last loop, in the top loop there. And I like to put this over this way and incorporate it. Now we're coming around the other side. So if it's curling, it's okay. It's going to work itself out. So now we need to do 2 over on this side. And I'm going to go through this top loop here. If I can get there. There it is. And then we're going to go back 34. 1, 2, 3. 34. Okay, so then now in our last loop, right here, we have 2 single crochets. And then we're going to slip stitch through the top of this first single crochet. There we go. This is our round 1. And what's going to happen is we're going to build this, and this is going to fold onto itself, and it's just going to build up along the sides. Build up along the side like this. So we need to do 5, not 5, excuse me, 2 through 5. So 4 rows of single crochet. Now, what's going to happen is I am not going to chain 1 here, because what happens is it creates a bumpy mess, and I don't want that. So here's our slip stitch. I'm going to go straight into the same here and do a single crochet. So this means you need to count, or you can put a stitch marker there. Whatever works best for you. So I need to do 76 around. So there's 1, 2, 3, 74, 75, and 76. That should be, let me count. Okay, yep, that's 76. So now we're going to slip stitch into the beginning single crochet, which is right here. This is our slip stitch from before. Actually, it's not. There it is. So it's going to fold up on itself, which is what we want. We want it to do this. So now we need to do this 3 more times. And I will, remember, no chain. That's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I will be back at the end of row 5 so that I can show you how to continue. Okay, here's our last stitch for row 5. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the first. And I'm going to check. So it's starting to look like a little boat, right? So I've noticed I tend to do the single crochet rows a bit tight. And I need to remind myself, there we go. That'll fit nicely. I need to remind myself to do, now when we're working the moss stitches, definitely do looser stitches because for some reason they like to bunch in. So that's what we're starting next, our moss stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to start turning instead of going in the round. Now, usually I want you, hang on, I don't remember, but I find that if you turn this direction to the left, then you're going to get this extra leg over here, and it's going to make this bulky. So I find that if I turn to the right, it stays right here. And then I'm going to chain 1. So for all the moss stitches, we are chaining 1. And single crochet in our first stitch. Yeah, I made these really tight. It's going to work up much faster now that we're doing the moss stitches because we're doing technically half the stitches. Okay, so single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. So we're going to do this all the way around. I find that when I see the inside or the back side, I kind of want to make something because I like the texture and the way that looks better than the right side sometimes, but I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so remind myself, crochet a little looser. It does feel awkward in the beginning when you're working this close to the bottom and you're on the inside, working from the wrong side opposed to from the outside, which is the right side. But it'll work itself out, and once you turn back to the right side, it'll feel better. You just have to alternate right and wrong sides for the moss stitch. Now we're slip stitching back to the top of the first stitch. Okay, so let's see here, which way? Yep. So I'm going to turn this to the right, and then the yarn is going to be right there and not make a huge loop around. Okay, now we are going back the other direction. Same thing. So with the moss stitch, we chain 1, and then we work into the spaces that we created out of our chains in the previous rows. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, working in the spaces. Okay, so you're going to do this row and the next row for a total of 3 rows. I don't think chained on that one. There it is. And so I'm going to go ahead and get through this, and I will be right back. Okay, so this is the end of the row 3, and this is my chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch. So your third, your third moss stitch single crochet should be working from the opposite side, from the wrong side, from the inside. So 1, 2, and 3. So this is what it's looking like. So next, what we're going to do is 3 rows. So the moss stitches are all 3 rows. So next we're going to do 3 rows of, it's going to be, sorry, let me turn this. There we go. And then chain 1. It's going to be 3 rows of half double instead of single crochet, just to give it a little variation. So then again, we're half doubling, so that is a yarn over. After your chain 1, go into the space, and both yarn over, pull through all 3, and then chain 1, and there you go, all the way through. So you're going to do 3 rows of this, alternating and turning, and you should end up back on the right side, finishing. Okay, I will see you at the end of that 3rd row in this section. Okay, so this is the end of the 3rd half double crochet moss stitch. So there's my chain 1, and now I'm going to slip stitch and turn and chain 1, because now we're going to start another 3 rows of the single crochet moss. So what's going to happen is you do 3 rows of those and then repeat 3 rows of the half double, and then you're going to do another 3 rows of the single crochet. So that'll give you 1, 2, 3 sets, so 9 rows. Okay. I don't know about you, but me personally, I absolutely love moss stitch. I think it has such a beauty to it and a versatility to it. The standard moss stitch with the single crochet, this half double was just an experiment and something fun that I was wanting to do to kind of space this out and give it another little bit of texture. I love how beautiful it works up with just a single color. But if you do different variations, like you could do multiple rows, like alternating rows of different color yarn, and that would make something gorgeous. Variegated yarn is gorgeous as well. Also, I love how, let me show you, I made this scarf with moss stitch and DK weight yarn. This is a Stylecraft special DK, but look, it's nice and lightweight, and it has a nice drape to it. It lays comfortably. It's not super bulky. So it works gorgeously with lighter weight yarns, but at the same time, it also works gorgeously with heavier weight yarns. I've seen a lot of moss stitch with the bulky weights, or the Caron anniversary cakes. I don't know if you've seen those on, gosh, pages on Facebook and what have you. It's very popular. Those, I think, are a bulky or a super bulky, a 5 or 6. I don't remember. But they're a variegated yarn and a striping yarn, so they make up gorgeously. So I did my chain 1. Now single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. So I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to do the rest of the 9 rows that I was just talking about. So remember, you're doing another 3 rows of the single crochet moss stitch, and then 3 rows of the half double crochet moss stitch, and then another 3 rows on top of that of your single crochet moss stitch. and that'll give you 9 rows. So I will see you back after those 9 rows. Oh my. This is getting scary. Hopefully I don't lose a yarn chicken. 8 more rows to go, friends. All right, here we are at the end of the final 9th row. So as you see, we have our first 3 single crochet mod stitch, and then our half doubles, and then the next single crochet and our half doubles, and then our last 3. So what we're going to do now, we finished on the wrong side, so we have to turn. Oh no, look, it's almost gone. Am I going to make it? Yarn chicken or me? Who's going to win? So we're going to turn. I don't know why that's so weird to me, but okay, we're going to figure this out. And then chain 1. And what we're doing now is 3 rows of single crochet. Simple, simple. So we're going to start in the chain space here and then just go around. So you do 1 here and then 1 in the single crochet and then 1 in the space and 1 in the single crochet. Okay, so this is what you're going to do for 3 more rows, and I will see you at the end of that to finish this off. So before I forget, you're going to go all the way around. You're not going to be turning with these single crochets. You're going to come slip stitch and then chain 1 and then continue single crochet in the same space and then continue on. Right, here it is. The last slip stitch. Whoop, whoop. And look. Winner. Chicken dinner. I won at Yarn Chicken. Y'all. If you know, you know. Okay. So here we are. Gonna pull this out a little bit. And now we're going to put this in here. I'm going to stretch it a little bit because it seems regardless of what I do, this is why blocking is important. Regardless of how loose I do this, it still bunches in on itself. So, yes, blocking is the answer. But I'm going to put this in right now. Look, it's so pretty. So with the link that I posted below, they do, or at least they did, have options. You can get a pack of 10 of these pouches, all this color, or all black, or 5 and 5 this color and 5 black. It's optional, customizable, really kind of cool. So like if you did like a neon color with this and put the black background on it, that would be really cool looking, I think. Okay. What I want to do is cut a long tail off of here because what we're doing next is sewing, hand sewing this through here. So I definitely want a long enough tail. I'll zoom out just a snug to be able to do that. And that's going to go in my scrap pile to make my scrap skein of yarn. It'll be fun. Okay, so first I'm going to pull this all the way through and do an invisible join. So I'm going to start with this needle because this is what I have out. But then I'm going to need to switch to a different one that is smaller and sharper so that we can go through the canvas. So you go through the loop, 2 loops ahead of where you're sitting. If you haven't done this before, can you see that okay? Because, yes. And then you come back through this loop here, and then down here through this one. Okay, so now make a different hook. I mean needle, not hook. Let's see here. Let me test this. I don't remember if this is the one that I've used before. Oh yeah, that works perfectly. Okay, so this is about the size I'm using. It's a little thinner, straighter, pointier. I do not know the size. I'm terribly sorry. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to go this direction. Okay, so what I'm doing is just going to kind of do like a back stitch. And then there we go, up through that. I kind of am going through the post of the stitches so that it's not really loose. This is what it's looking like on the inside. Just want to keep it straight so it doesn't curl or get bunched up. Yes, I could pin it. I just don't have my pins nearby. So, okay, so I'm going to continue this all the way around and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've gotten across. When you get to the corner, the end, you're going to want to make sure it's zipped, and then you're going to Where's my end at? Go back through. I'm gonna just double it up, as you can see there. I'm going to make sure that end is nice and secure. You can only work on each side of that zipper. I hope that makes sense. It might actually be easier if you keep it mostly zipped up. I mean, obviously you don't want to accidentally close it up so much that you can't access it. Okay. So, as you see, there we go. Opens up. Make sure I didn't accidentally go all the way through. Now I'm going to finish up the side and we will be done. Okay, so I'm at the end and I closed this up mostly because, there we go. I want to come back through. I'm going to go through all the way around to the other side. Just need to make sure it's nice and secure. Well, I definitely had a long enough tail to work with, that's for sure. Okay. There it is. Lovely, lovely. All right, what I'm going to do to finish it off is kind of do some weaving through here. Actually, kind of all the way down. Then back up a bit. Make sure it's loose and not super tight to bunch. Then I'm going to go inside here. Tie it off. Send it to the back. And then out like this. That should be secure. Woot woot. Okay. There we are. Now, what do you think? Did you enjoy this? Go ahead and finish up. Tell me down below what you would use this for. I know there's so many options. So many options. You could put your crochet hooks in there. You can put travel accessories in there. You could put cell phones in there with things. I don't know. Pencils in there. Yeah. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then I will see you in a few. Phew. Yarn Chicken was close, guys. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Can you believe it? So here it is. Are you excited? Tell me all about what you think you could use this for. This was pretty simple, right? You could do it in one day. I know I was able to complete it and create it in a day, a couple of hours. So reminder, if you have tight tension, you definitely want to go up on your hook sizes. If you have very loose tension, definitely probably use the smaller size hooks that I talked about. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Go ahead and like and subscribe and put in the comments what your favorite part was and what you want to use this for. Until next time.